The story which I'm going to tell you, it was told to me by my mother. This incident took place around 15 years ago. One day, my mother, along with 2 of her younger sisters, were returning from the fields and heading back home on foot. It was around 1 in the afternoon, and on the path from which they were coming from, led them through a crematorium, a place where people used to burn their dead. And so, while they were walking on their way, my middle aunt saw a cow standing right in front of the entrance to the crematorium. It was a very beautiful cow. It was shining white and radiant. She had never seen such a beautiful cow in her life. So, when she saw it standing there, she pointed her finger at it and asked her sisters, "Hey, look at that cow. It's so beautiful." My mother quickly snapped and said, "Hey, put your hand down. You must never point your hand at such a thing, which looks to be out of this world." Everyone in their village believed that you must never pay attention to any such creature, regardless of its beauty. If you see one, just ignore it, as if you had never even seen it. After that, the 3 ladies reached their home, but as soon as they reached their front door and settled in, my middle aunt started behaving strangely. While she was sitting in her room, she just kept laughing, as if she was talking to herself. Every evening, it was my middle aunt's duty to serve food to her father, my grandfather. But that evening, when her father asked her to get the food, she just kept on laughing loudly. Hearing her laugh, other members of the house came to see her. When they entered the room, they saw that my aunt had opened her hair and started moving her head around and around. My grandfather knew something was very wrong with her. He asked my mother if anything strange had happened during the day, and my mother told him about seeing that cow. While they were talking, my uncle's 4-year-old son went near my aunt, who was visibly not in her control. As soon as he got close to her, she slapped him. She slapped him so hard that he passed out. Even her fingers left an imprint on his cheek. Now, everybody in the house was starting to get very worried. My grandfather sent his son to call for the shaman. They came to know that he was unavailable and would only be able to come the next morning. They were on their own. My mother said that night was very scary. Nobody was able to sleep. In the middle of the night, they locked my aunt in her room so that she couldn't run away. The entire night she kept screaming and laughing, but in a man's voice. Then, at around 3 in the morning, she started banging on the door and screaming, "Open the door! Open the door!" It was a very scary night for all. The next morning, my uncle met the shaman and brought him to the house. The shaman took one look at my aunt and said, "That cow, which she saw the other day, was actually an evil entity, and when she pointed her hand towards that cow, that evil entity possessed her with an evil spirit. In fact, there was actually 3 more spirits wandering around that crematorium, and it seems all 3 had entered my aunt's body." For 4 days, the shaman kept performing rituals and prayers in the home. My aunt suffered extremely high temperature for the days during the process, but eventually recovered after the 4th day of continuous rituals. In the end, my aunt was saved and returned to normal. Life returned back to normal, until one day, 3 months after that incident. One night, a snake bit my aunt while she was sleeping, and she died. People say to this day that it's those 3 same evil spirits who return to take their revenge, and it's those 3 evil spirits that actually killed her that night.
Well, friends, how'd you like today's story? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for this channel to listen each and every weekday for more real horror stories. We got a ton of amazing real horror stories, and we're dying to share them with you. So until then, stay out of the dark and stay tuned for our next video.